Hey everyone, I'm back with the Moon Project, working on the engine shields. Where do I want to go first? So here's the flat cutouts that we made. We made enough for 4 pairs for each side. Here's one that I already finished making up. Let's see, what notes do I have on it? They're really hard to get to fit right. It looks like even the originals they had to make some compromises with. These are all handmade. You can tell by the lines on them on the originals. I've got an original back there that I've been using as a template for these. The hard part about it is they sit on top of the frame rail, and I don't know if you can see from there or not, but the frame curves up right where that shackle is. So it's not a flat surface. And that means it touches on either end and has to bend down in the middle. Sorry for the camera angle. I don't know how else to get you guys to see this. So that means all those holes have to be drilled not in a straight line. That way it can flex down and they'll be in a straight line on the frame. The next problem is up there where the front flange sits on top of the frame. It doesn't go over far enough to meet that last hole up in that area. And the originals have a similar problem. Both sides, that busted out because they had to make the hole right on the edge and it just tore itself out. Also, the hole for the radiator drain, it's not even directly underneath the drain. So on these ones I put them exactly where the originals were, but I think on the last 2 that I have to make for this side, I'm going to put the hole over a little bit more. Just a reminder, if you haven't seen the other videos in this series, I'm making 4 pairs of these for different people that have these cars. So my solution right now, I'll sleep on it. I don't know if I like it or not yet, but I'm gonna leave the front 2 holes undrilled because there's enough structure to it that it doesn't really flex. So once everything's bolted down and tight, that's not really gonna go anywhere. Because not only are the bends on the frame along the side, but that cross member where the radiator sits, it's stepped up on top of that gusset, which is then sitting on top of the frame, and then it has a bend in it even, so it can't really sit flat there. And there's a rivet head where that gusset meets the frame down in the front corner there. So I've put the original on the car. It doesn't even fit exactly right. So I think even back in 1923 they were making a lot of compromises on these just to make it fit. So I'm gonna put those holes in where I want them on the outside. The inside holes are all done. It bolts on from the bottom of the oil pan. That's where we're at. Then once I get this side all done, then I'll do the other side. And then I have to decide if I want to put them in primer or just leave them as is. or even paint them. I'm not sure. It really depends what everybody else wants and what I have time to do. And yeah, the other side, it's going to be tricky because it's got a hump where the exhaust goes underneath. The exhaust comes down and goes underneath there when it's sitting on the car. So I have to figure out how to make that hump that goes down the center. I've got a hole saw that's the right size to do both those holes, and then we just cut out the middle section. It's interesting how they did the cutouts for the shackles. They sheared down along the sides, and then they peeled the piece back and just sheared it off. And then they didn't even bother to flatten it out. They just left it up like that. At least that's my guess on the reasoning on why they did it that way. It's like that on both of them. And both of these use the same flat part that they're cut out of. The only difference is this hole in this bend and where the holes are in this area. And it doesn't have the radiator drain on this side. I know it looks like it should be a different piece. You'd think it would have to have extra material in it to do that with that extra bend in there, but they just flattened this bend out a little bit, this one right here, so that it could scrunch up there, and this one was just not as tight of a bend. Yeah, you can see it broke out in that same area because there's just not enough metal there. The only way to get more metal there would be to weld more on, which that's not a feasible option. Or to shear it out of a bigger piece and kind of put a little swale in it. But I have them all cut out, and this is how the original was. And when it comes to restoring, you do original. I mean, you can upgrade things, but you know, you make changes everywhere based on what you want to do, and then it's not really how it originally was. So you got to live with the funny things. So I'll probably put that hole, well, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to put, I might not put either hole and then just leave it up to the people getting them if they want to put their own holes in them. I think I'm going to leave the front holes undone and just let it rest on the frame rail, because it's just going to twist itself whatever way. I don't know. I guess if I did it and bolted it on, it would stick with my whole theory of keep everything how it originally was. We'll see. That's where it's at. I'm going to have to do more thinking. We're doing a restoration, not a hot rod. All right. See you guys later.